guys, it's Zion here. Welcome to my crib, or whatever else it is that these people say sometimes. I'm having a nice, chilled out, relaxed Saturday, sitting on the sofa. It's pissing down outside, so hopefully my new Globy microphone can pick that up. As well as me sitting here on the sofa, about to tell you why you suck. Better than that, I'm going to give you 10 really good points as to what you can do about that and how you can change your life. By the end of this video, you should be a better person. The world's not fair. Wah! They have more than me. Wah! They only succeed because so-and-so helped them out. Wah! I'm fat because I don't have time to exercise. Wah! I hate my job. Wah! I hate my life. Wah! Etc. 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 Does any of this ring true? Does any of this sound familiar to you? We all want more money, to be better looking, to be smarter, to have more, to be fitter, healthier and happier. But these things don't happen by accident. Well, I guess yes, some of them do happen by accident, but hey, guess what? The world's not fair, so get over it. If we lived in some sort of isolated bubble where we weren't able to see what other people had, we would be so much happier. I do believe that the biggest source of misery is comparison. The good news is, you can do almost anything about that. And the only thing stopping you from doing that is you. Now, I'm not perfect and I don't pretend to be, but I will always strive to be the very best version of myself that I can be. And I don't always get it right. I'm kind of like Windows. A new version comes along and it takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but most of the time there are some good improvements. Every now and then it's a bit shit, but you just go back and you fix it and then you improve again. So I've got 10 tips, count them, of ways that you can improve your life. You are most welcome. Number 1, you want more money. Well, so do we all. The problem is, if everybody had loads of money, everything else would just become way more expensive because there is the economic law of supply and demand. If everybody had £1 million, then a cup of tea would all of a sudden start costing £1 million. If you want more money, then you have to actually work for it. Millionaires, billionaires are not rich by accident. And yes, okay, you're going to point out, yeah, they inherited money. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the average millionaire or billionaire, if there is such a thing, who has worked their way up from nothing to become millionaires and billionaires. They're rich through determination, nous, but mostly sheer bloody hard work. Now these people will work 80, 100 hours a week. They'll have absolutely no leisure time. They forego family and friends and entertainment because their mind is set on this one goal, whatever that is. It might be, I mean, personally, I don't believe that if your goal is solely to make money, that you will actually necessarily achieve that. I think that money should be a byproduct of some other great goal that you need to achieve. And they also have an ability to see through problems and look for the opportunities that are in problems. They look for the advantages in a situation rather than the disadvantages. But anyway, this isn't a video about entrepreneurship. This is a video about you and you wanting to improve your lot. And if being rich is one of them and you spend every single evening sitting on the sofa, eating crisps, watching TV, you're never going to be rich. You either need to just accept that and accept that great wealth is never going to be a part of your life, or get off your butt and do something about it. Number 2, stop being jealous. Stop coveting things that other people have. I bet a lot of the time you don't even want it. If your favourite car is a Ferrari and you see somebody with a McLaren and you're jealous of that, why? You don't want that. You want a Ferrari. Makes no sense. Yet people do this all the time. Whatever it is you covet of others, it will just make you miserable. If you find yourself wanting those things, then you need to work towards getting them. Whether it's a goal, an ambition, or an object, you need to put the stepping stones in place to actually get there. Social media has made things really bad in this respect, because people that post on social media, and I'm guilty as this, just as you are, tend to put up a edited version of their lives. They put up the greatest hits, you know, the amazing things that happen to them. Like, they don't say, hey, I woke up today and did fuck all day long. They say, hey, I woke up today and in the mail I got this amazing, wonderful thing. And you sit there and you think, I didn't get an amazing, wonderful thing. Their life must be brilliant. I want their life. Well, you can't have it. You've got your life. So just understand that through social media, you're getting a very distorted view of people's lives. Number 3, if you hate your job, do something about it. I know that's easier said than done. And I'm certainly not suggesting that you go to your boss on Monday and say, hey boss, suck on this, I quit. What I'm suggesting is, if you need to acquire new skills or new qualifications to get a different job or a dream job, do that. Because otherwise you won't get a different job or your dream job. And if you're not prepared to do that, then you have to stop complaining about it. Now, the very best job is a hobby that you turn into something that pays the bills. These are very few and far between, and they tend to be things that you have to create yourself. They're things where you actually have to create a desire for the product or create the space within the marketplace for whatever it is that you are trying to sell. So it might be that you actually have to become an entrepreneur. This isn't for everyone. I mentioned the hours before, and there is the insecurity as well of not having a regular defined income. I run several businesses with Vicky. We have some joint businesses and we have separate ones as well. And as a result, we're both really busy. I get about 2 hours a week on an average week of downtime, which is when we'll sit on this very sofa and watch a movie. Now, if to you that sounds inspiring or aspirational, then brilliant. You know, you're actually on your way to maybe becoming an entrepreneur. But if you think that sounds really shit, then that's probably not cut out for you either. The reason that I do it is because there are certain goals that I want to achieve, and if I spend every evening sitting on this very sofa watching a movie, my chances of succeeding become less and less and less. So, in short, if you hate your job, put the wheels in motion to get a different one. Number 4, work out what makes you happy, and it might not actually be what you think it is. Now, I can tell you, not from personal experience, but I can tell you money doesn't make a person happy. What happens if somebody becomes a self-made millionaire? Their expenses become more. They'll still worry about mortgage payments and car payments, but they'll just be on a bigger scale. So I can almost guarantee to you that somebody with lots and lots of money worries just as much about money as people without lots and lots of money. So it's best to kind of just accept that money is the root of all evil and shove it to one side and concentrate on other stuff. I thought that being in a band would make me happy, and for about 20 years it did just that. However, at some point, and I can't pinpoint when that was, but at some point that changed. Because it's all I'd ever done for 20 years, it took me a very long time to recognise that change, and then a very long time to accept that change. I had been working toward a particular thing for many years. I got that thing. It wasn't what I expected it to be, hoped it would be, wanted it to be. And I had to admit to myself that, well, I guess I had to admit to myself that what I thought I wanted, I didn't want, so therefore I was wrong. And I could have had a big sulky fit about that, and I probably did have a big sulky fit about that. The fact of the matter is, I did walk away from the thing that made me unhappy, even though I thought it would make me happy. I've not completely abandoned it. I'm not saying never again. I'm proud of what I did, what we achieved, the music, everything. I'm proud of everything, and I'm glad I did it. I don't regret doing it at all. I am fucking dead chuffed with myself. But it has left me bewildered and confused about my own identity, because my identity was wrapped up in this thing for so long. I kind of never got a chance to work out who I was, what I was, because this is all I had ever done. So now I'm unwrapping this parcel and finding out all sorts of things inside that I didn't know were there, and it's quite entertaining, it's quite scary, very confusing. I'm making new goals, I'm setting new challenges, I'm having to redefine myself and redefine my life, and I find all of that very exciting. I'm happier for it, and I'm interested to see where life takes me. Number 5, stop fearing failure. Going back to my last point, if you try something and you find you don't like it, you haven't failed, you've just found something that you don't like, so you can cross that off the list. Failure is a point of view. If you go for a job and you don't get the job, ask yourself why. If you find yourself saying some bullshit like, oh, there was a political reason why I didn't get the job, or anything like that, then you're looking for excuses. If you find yourself looking for excuses, shut the fuck up and look for reasons, because there will always be a reason why you haven't got something, why you haven't achieved something. And it's only when you look for those reasons that you will find out what the problem is, and then you can do something about it. If you just fill your brain with excuses as to why you haven't achieved something or why you can't do something, then you will never achieve that thing and you will never do that thing. Successful people fail upward, and it's important to remember that. 6, I love to learn. I like to be clever. I want to be cleverer still. I enjoy knowledge, I seek knowledge, and I shove it in my head. I'm never afraid to ask stupid questions, and I'm never afraid to ask for help. And the moment that you think that you know it all, give yourself a slap, because you don't. The only way to get smarter is to educate yourself. You don't get smarter through flicking through Facebook all fucking night. Don't always just focus on the things that are in your comfort zone. Look for things outside of your comfort zone and maybe learn a little bit about something that you didn't think you had an interest in. And you might find out that you do. Or you might be able to glean something from that. Number 7, diet, health and fitness. Clearly this is something that I am very interested in, and not a lot winds me up more than people that have excuses as to why they're fat or why they can't exercise, why they're unhealthy, why they can't get fit. The fact of the matter is, everyone can do something to change their diet, health, fitness. Everyone has different degrees as to how much they can change these things, but everyone can change. Sometimes it will be by a teeny tiny amount, and other times it will be life-changing. If you're not prepared to accept the challenges, it's not going to happen. And again, if you find yourself making excuses, shut the fuck up! 8, learn to shut up and listen. Hey, guess what? You don't know it all and you're not always right. You know that expression, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason? Yeah, that. Over the years, people have asked me for help and advice. I don't just give it, apart from in this format. But then you have to seek it, and you don't have to click on the link. I'm not making you fucking click on the link. If you clicked on the link and you're sitting there thinking, who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? You're wasting your fucking time, and you're an idiot. But I digress. Over the years, people have asked me for help and advice. I've given it, and sometimes I've spent an awful lot of time helping or advising these people, only to be told that either A, I'm wrong, A, is your thumbnail an A, or B, they just don't pay any attention to me. They think they know better. Or they're just not brave enough to try what I've suggested. So stop thinking that you know it all and learn to listen to people that might actually know a bit more than you, or people that are experts in their field. If somebody else is talking, shut up and listen. It's one reason I love this format. Don't have you interrupting me all the time. Numero 9. Don't fear change. Don't fear new things. Don't be afraid to try new things. Life has only one path for each of us, and it's the one that we're on. Sometimes events happen that are unexpected and unwelcome, and they take that path in a direction that is new to us. That might be scary, but you have an opportunity to actually help steer that path. So the best thing to do is to embrace the fact that XYZ has happened and you are now on this new path, and do your very best to make the best of it. I can think of so many events in my life that were unwelcomed and unexpected, and one in particular, by the time I'd got through to the end of it and I had a much happier outcome than expected, it made me stop fearing change, and it made me look at change differently, and it made me realise that I can help effect that change. So now when something happens that is unexpected, I get dug in and I think, right, okay, what do I want the outcome of this to be, and work toward that. For example, in 2014, the landlady of the house that we lived in for 11 years said that she was going to sell up and she wanted to move back into the cottage that we'd been renting. And it was a bit of a blow, but within an hour we were both on the internet, both searching for a new place to live, and we had a list of what we wanted out of that new place. Rural, and it was old, in the middle of nowhere, in amongst beauty. They were the things that were most important to us. And you know, you can click on any of the videos that we've done from around this area and you can see that we got exactly what we wanted and more. That wasn't luck, that wasn't chance, that was us working, and literally this was every waking hour that we possibly could spare, we were online looking, working to try and find that place. And we actually visited some places that we missed out on, and in the end, rather than us looking for a place, we actually did the opposite. We advertised ourselves, and that's how we ended up at the place that we're at now. And there were several things in that year that had to have occurred, and all potentially miserable things, or definitely miserable things, but they're all things that had to occur for us to end up at this place. So even in the height of misery, just remember that you've got the opportunity to steer it in a direction that ultimately will be better for you. If you're going to be miserable anyway, then you might as well be miserable and do something that could affect the outcome and make it worth all the misery. Number 10, the final one, challenge your thinking. And this is probably the hardest one for people to get to grips with. However, it is the most rewarding. Most of us grow up with certain prejudices because we're brought up in a particular way, in a particular environment. Now, the most enlightened people ask lots of questions. They constantly ask lots of questions. They ask lots of questions of themselves, and they ask lots of questions of others. They then change their thinking accordingly. This is how humanity has progressed, and this is how you will progress as a human being. Just because something worked for them doesn't mean that it will work for you. Just because something that you did in the past worked before doesn't mean that it will work again. If you always thought that the world was flat and then you found out that it was round and enough people told you it was round, instead of keep standing there going, no, it's flat, just accept that it's round and these people might know something that you don't, and have a look into it. And if you discover that it's round, there's nothing bad about admitting that you were wrong. Politics seems to be the most divisive of topics. It seems to be such a black and white way of thinking. If you've been brought up a conservative, then you are over there in that camp. If you have been brought up in a non-conservative household, you are over there. And instead of being able to take a little bit of that and a little bit of this and put it together to create a new way of looking at things, people like to stick in their camps and then they fight. And that's wrong, because there's going to be good things there, there's going to be good things there. Unless you can put yourself in other people's shoes, unless you can look at different ways of thinking, unless you can look at the other person and think, why might they be thinking that, and then adapt accordingly, whether it's change and adapt to situation or change and adapt to the way that you think, you'll never get beyond that sticking point. And we see this so often in politics, where people can't get beyond a sticking point. It's just, I'm right, you're wrong, and that's it. Well, no, actually, you're both right and you're both wrong. It's just a different perspective that changes the outcome. So accept other people's realities, be aware of your own, and listen to what they have to say, and it might get you thinking. All of my points can be challenged, they can be picked apart. Please remember, I am speaking in broad brushstrokes. I am saying things that will help the majority. You can always find the exception that proves the rule. And if you are sitting there thinking, you are wrong, ask yourself, why are you thinking that? Is it because you don't want to face up to something? You don't want to admit something to yourself? Or maybe you're looking for an excuse as to why you can't do something. Now, I am not wrong, but I'm also not right. And before you criticize any of these ideas, try them. If you try them and find out that they don't work for you, that still doesn't make me wrong. These are things that work for me, so therefore for me, they are right. You can cherry pick out of what I've said things that work for you, but try them before you criticize them. Most of all, remember this. No one, and I mean no one, wants to hear you bitch, moan and complain about anything ever. Ever, ever, ever. So, if you take home just 2 things about everything I've been talking about, it should be 1, shut the fuck up, and 2, do something about it. Well, that's your lot, boys and girls and all those in between. I hope that this has been of some help or education to you. Or I hope that you have at least enjoyed the leather sofa. Give the video a thumbs up. Perhaps share it with some friends or relatives that might need a little bit of inspiration or a kick up the butt. Comment below if it's helped at all, if you think I'm talking twattery, or if you've found something that's helped yourself. Most of all, subscribe, motherfucker!
No. I don't like this.
What?
You still?
No, you gotta open your eyes. Look up.
You're coming at me.
Look up.